Do you feel the pressure building, the energy that's impossible to ignore? You're not here by chance. Something has drawn you in. Something deep within that craves the truths you've never fully understood, but have always sensed. This is the moment that changes everything. A storm of spiritual awakening is upon you, carrying answers, revelations, and a reality so undeniable that it will shatter the illusions you've been taught to believe. There's no turning back now. You can either open your mind to this flood of knowledge or be left behind. You are here because you are ready, and this truth is meant for you. The flood is rising, relentless and unstoppable. It tears through the walls of deception, laying bare everything once hidden, everything you thought you knew about yourself and those around you. There is no escaping this torrent. You've sensed its approach long before, a faint tremor in the depths of your mind, a whisper in the back of your consciousness. But now it surges forth with a force that cannot be denied. You will stand at the center of this flood, no longer sheltered from the reality that has always lingered just beneath the surface. There will be no veils, no shadows to hide behind. Every lie you've ever told yourself, every distortion of the truth to protect your fragile sense of identity, will be exposed. You will see with devastating clarity the full weight of your actions, the intricacies of your choices, and the echoes of every decision that has shaped your world. And in this, you will recognize that the truths you've avoided are the very ones that hold the key to your freedom. This flood doesn't simply reveal, it strips away. The illusions others have crafted to shape their existence will crumble before your eyes. Faces you thought familiar will shift, revealing the currents of hidden motives, fears, and desires that have silently driven them. The people you once trusted, the ones you placed in neat little boxes in your mind, will no longer fit within the labels you assigned them. Their inner workings, once so carefully concealed, will be laid bare in excruciating detail. You will feel the weight of this truth, but you will also understand at long last why they acted as they did. Not everyone will survive this storm. Many will falter under the weight of what they see. They will turn away, refuse to face the magnitude of what they have uncovered. The mirror they held up to others will reflect back their own deepest flaws, their own frailties, and this will be too much for some. They will spiral, caught in the undertow of guilt and shame, unable to forgive themselves for the things they now cannot ignore. They will rage, they will deny, they will cling to the broken pieces of their former selves, desperate to reconstruct the image they thought was real. But you will not crumble. You will not shy away from this flood of knowledge. You will feel its force, yes, but instead of drowning, you will learn to breathe in its depths. You will embrace the truths that others fear, because within them lies something infinitely greater than the comforting lie. It is within this clarity, this raw and unfiltered knowledge, that you will find your strength. You will see what others cannot bear to look at, and you will rise because of it. In the face of overwhelming truth, you will discover that forgiveness, real forgiveness, does not come from pretending ignorance or erasing the past. It comes from acknowledging the full spectrum of what has happened, from accepting the consequences and choosing to move forward. This is what sets you apart. Where others see destruction, you see transformation. The flood will cleanse you, peeling away layers of fear, self-deception, and doubt, leaving only what is real and untouchable. You've always known there was something different about you, something that set you apart. You felt it in the stillness of moments that others seemed to overlook, in the unspoken currents of reality that swirled just beyond the grasp of those around you. They could only see what was in front of them, blinded by the ordinary. But you were never confined to the shallow perceptions of the physical world. You saw beyond the surface into the realms that exist beneath what most would call real. This perception, this connection to what lies beneath, has made you feel like a misfit, an outsider. Not because you are flawed, but because your vision surpasses the limits of those who sought to contain you. There is power in this knowing, yet that power has come with a cost. The world is uncomfortable with those who perceive its deeper layers. You've been forced into pain that was never yours to bear, pain that came from the harshness of others who refused to acknowledge the light you carried. They sensed your difference, your ability to transcend their limited understandings, and this frightened them. Fear turned into rejection, and rejection became the weight you carried like a burden too heavy to shed. You were left questioning your worth, wondering if there was something wrong with you, if the way others treated you was somehow deserved. But that rejection wasn't because of a flaw within you. It was because they saw in you something they could never reach. They saw your light, a brilliance that shone too brightly for them to comprehend. Rather than step into that light, they sought to extinguish it. Their jealousy became the fuel for their cruelty. Their envy of your ability to see beyond the mundane made them twist the truth, warping reality to make you feel small, diminished, worthless. But know this now, their actions were never about you. They were about their own fear, their own inability to rise to the level you naturally exist in. For years, you endured. You suffered through their betrayals, their petty attempts to pull you down to their level. The pain you experienced was not a reflection of your failings, but a consequence of their desire to undermine what they couldn't possess. Your depression, your sadness, those were the symptoms of living in a world that could not accept you for what you truly are. You have felt the weight of their words, their dismissals, their casual cruelty, and it has tried to break you. But it hasn't. Despite everything, you are still here. Despite their best efforts to diminish your light, it continues to burn. Now, the truth begins to reveal itself. Those close to you, the ones who should have supported you, protected you, they were the ones who worked hardest to keep you down. Friends, lovers, co-workers. They stood close not out of love or camaraderie, but out of jealousy. They were drawn to your light because it illuminated their own inadequacies, and they couldn't stand to face themselves in its brilliance. Rather than elevate themselves, they chose the path of destruction. They plotted in silence, subtly undermining you, casting doubts on your abilities, your insights, your worth. They whispered behind closed doors, twisted your words to others, made you question your own reality. But you already know this. You felt it, haven't you? The way their smiles never quite reached their eyes, the way their compliments felt sharp beneath the surface. You sensed the shift in energy, the way the room seemed to tilt when they were near. You knew they were holding something back, some deep resentment that they couldn't quite hide. And now you see it for what it is. The truth is no longer hidden from you. They worked against you because they could never become what you are. The obsidian inner circle is where chosen ones like you gather, not to explain themselves, but to elevate beyond the limitations others tried to place on them. You felt their envy, their resentment, but now you rise above it, unbothered, unstoppable. You've seen through their masks, and now it's time to claim what's always been yours. In the inner circle, we don't just see the truth, we own it. Their attempts to dim your light only revealed their own smallness. And now you stand above it, ready to magnify the greatness within you. We will show you how to take the energy they tried to steal and turn it into fuel. You won't just survive their envy, you'll thrive in it, rising higher while they choke on the bitterness they couldn't hide. This isn't a space for those still tangled in others' opinions. It's for those who know they're already ahead. If you're ready to stop playing small and start living in the full power of who you are, then join the inner circle. Inside, you'll get exclusive, uncensored teachings that turn every bit of resentment they threw your way into the fuel that propels you to new heights. The link is in the description. You're standing at the threshold of revelation, not by choice, but by inevitability. The truth about those who have wronged you will unravel before your eyes, like a flood that tears through the carefully constructed facades they've worn. The mask of benevolence, the false smiles, the insincere words, they will fall away, and you will see them as they are. You will see the intent behind their actions, the threads of manipulation that ran beneath every betrayal, every whispered insult, every silent act of sabotage. They have worked in the shadows, hoping you would never see, hoping you would remain in the dark, questioning yourself, doubting your worth. But the truth is this: The harm they inflicted was never incidental. It wasn't fate that derailed your opportunities, nor was it some cosmic force that kept you down. It was them. Those who wanted to dim your light because they could not stand to see you rise higher than they ever could. They saw something in you that terrified them, a potential they could never reach. And rather than celebrate it, they sought to destroy it. They chipped away at you, silently and methodically, hoping you would break. But they underestimated you. They mistook your kindness for weakness, your willingness to forgive for ignorance. What they didn't realize is that you have always been aware. You felt their jealousy radiating off them like a slow poison, infecting every interaction. You saw the opportunities slip through your fingers not because you weren't ready, but because someone close to you made sure you wouldn't have the chance to seize them. They placed obstacles in your path, whispered doubts into the ears of those in power, turned others against you when your back was turned. This was not an accident. They saw your light, your strength, and it burned them. They could not face their own inadequacies in the glow of your brilliance, so they worked tirelessly to dim it, to make sure you never saw how much they feared you, how much they resented the power you carry within you. You were the mirror they couldn't look into, the reflection that forced them to confront everything they lacked. And so, they sabotaged you, not because you were unworthy, but because you were too much. Now, as the layers peel away and their true nature stands exposed, they will be forced to confront what they've done. The weight of their actions will press down on them like a vice, squeezing the breath from their lungs. They will feel the suffocating truth of their betrayal, the knowledge that they've spent years trying to destroy someone who was never a threat, but a beacon. And yet, as they writhe in the consequences of their choices, you must understand one thing. Their reckoning is not your burden. It is not your responsibility to save them from what they've created. Their remorse, their shame, it belongs to them. They will try to look to you for absolution, perhaps even beg for forgiveness. But that forgiveness is not something you owe them. Their actions were their own, and now they must carry the weight of them. The poison they spread has come full circle, and it will consume them. But you have already transcended it. You are not here to heal those who tore you down. You are not here to fix the brokenness inside them that led them to try and break you. Their damage is not yours to repair, and their guilt is not yours to shoulder. This is their burden to carry, and as they fall under the weight of it, you rise. You are free from their grasp, from the chains they tried to wrap around your spirit. The light they tried to extinguish burns brighter now, fed by the very pain they inflicted. The chains that once held you, the weight of others' negativity, their bitterness, their toxic energy, have begun to fall away. You are no longer tethered to the karmic cycles that dragged you into the depths of their despair. For so long, you've been a sponge for the darkness of others, absorbing their anger, their guilt, their failures, as if they were your own. But that time has ended. You stand now in a moment of reckoning, where the bonds they tried to place on you are dissolving, powerless against the force of your awakening. This shift is absolute. It is as though the world itself has cracked open, spilling out truths that had been buried for too long. These revelations pour forth like a torrential storm, washing away the illusions others tried to impose on you. They can no longer project their failings onto you. They can no longer blame you for their suffering. The knowledge being revealed to you, an ancient, unyielding force, is reshaping the very ground beneath your feet. Where once you were mired in their chaos, you now stand on solid, unshakable ground, free of their burdens. While this knowledge liberates you, it will drive others to madness. For those who clung to their lies, to the comfort of their own ignorance, this unveiling will be too much. They will flail, desperate to reattach themselves to the power they once had over you. But that power is gone. The energy they relied upon, the draining, suffocating force that fed off your light, is no longer accessible to them. They will spiral, not because of you, but because of the truth they can no longer avoid. You will watch as they unravel, as their minds collapse under the weight of the revelations they've fought so hard to ignore. But you will not fall. The force that once dragged you down is now the wind that pushes you forward. Your struggle, the pain you've endured, was never in vain. It was a crucible, a fire that tempered you, strengthened you, and prepared you for this moment of profound release. The weight you've carried, the expectations, the judgment, the blame, has been lifted, and what remains is nothing but clarity. You see now that none of it was ever yours to bear. The darkness you fought was never yours. It was always theirs, projected onto you like a shadow cast from a dying flame. This is your breakthrough. The pressure that once threatened to crush you has instead forged you into something unbreakable. Others may look at you and see only the surface of your strength, but you know the truth. You have walked through fire and emerged untouched. You are no longer affected by the energy they throw at you, no longer weighed down by their actions, their lies, their negativity. Their chaos swirls around you, but it can no longer touch you. This power you now hold is beyond their comprehension. They will try to understand it, try to find ways to pull you back into their web of deceit, but they will fail. They are bound by the very karma they sought to impose on you. The negativity they wielded like a weapon is now their own undoing. They will face their own reckoning, and it will be harsh. But it is not your responsibility to soften their fall. You have risen above the currents that once threatened to drown you, and you are no longer responsible for the consequences of their actions. Your power is your own. It is no longer fed by the validation or acceptance of those who once held power over you. The breakthrough you are experiencing is a reclamation of self, an unshakable force that answers to no one but you. Others will feel the shift and they will retreat, bewildered, confused by the sudden loss of control they once held over you. But you will not be moved. You have seen through their illusions, and they no longer have any hold on you. The truth has always been there, lingering beneath the surface, waiting for you to see it fully. Now it's inescapable. Like a sudden break in the clouds, the truth floods your senses, cutting through the haze of confusion that once weighed you down. With this clarity, every past limitation dissolves. The chains that once bound you snap, and the barriers you thought were insurmountable crumble into nothing. You no longer fit within the narrow confines others placed upon you. You've outgrown them. The cage they tried to keep you in is shattered, and you are free to step into a power that has always been yours. The energy around you shifts, charged with an intensity you cannot ignore. The weight of what held you back, the unseen forces that clung to you like shadows, is lifted. It's as if the very air is crackling with electricity, the world around you moving in sync with your newfound freedom. This release is not just external, it surges through you, filling every corner of your being with a lightness and strength that you've never felt before. The heaviness, the exhaustion that followed you like a shadow, evaporates. You can feel the shift, not as something vague, but as a visceral change, like a tidal wave crashing inside your chest, clearing out the debris of the past. You are no longer bound to the expectations, judgments, or limitations others imposed upon you. Every false narrative they spun, every attempt to diminish your spirit has lost its power. The truth has risen to the surface, undeniable and unshakable, and with it, so have you. Your purpose, once obscured, stands illuminated before you. And with this knowledge, you are no longer walking in circles. You are not like those who still struggle to make sense of their own revelations. You are not caught in the web of denial that traps them. You are chosen to carry this truth, this power forward, while others flounder in their own confusion. The others, those who thought they could silence your voice or dim your light, are now lost in their own spirals of realization. They feel the same shift in energy, but instead of liberation, it consumes them with fear. Their illusions, the lies they told themselves to avoid facing their own inadequacies, are dissolving in the light of this new reality. They struggle to hold on to their old ways of being, but it is futile. The truth doesn't simply knock politely at the door, it breaks it down, and they are left exposed, vulnerable, and shaken. But their struggle is not yours to bear. You have been chosen for this, chosen to see clearly where others falter, to rise while they sink, weighed down by their own blindness. And this is no accident. The love and knowledge you now carry were meant for you. This has always been your path, though it was once hidden in the shadows. Now, with the fog lifted, you can see the full scope of your power, your purpose, your potential. You are no longer burdened by the questions that once plagued you, because now you have the answers. The truth is yours, and it guides you like a beacon. The flood of knowledge has arrived, and its impact is undeniable. It carves a sharp, unyielding divide in the spiritual realm, separating those who have embraced truth from those who still cling to their falsehoods. You can see it now, the split widening between those who rise with clarity and those who remain trapped in the shadows of their own deception. This division is not a small shift. It is a seismic break, an irreversible line drawn in the fabric of existence. You stand on the side of truth, liberated, while the others, those who acted against you, are left to face the consequences of their own actions. They will come to you, these people, the ones who once sought to diminish you. Their guilt and desperation will drive them to seek forgiveness. But this forgiveness is not yours to give. Their path, their struggles, those are no longer your burden to bear. You owe them nothing. They must walk their own path of reckoning, navigating the chaos they created. This is their journey now, not yours. You have already moved beyond them, stepping into a reality where their energy can no longer reach you, where their attempts to seek absolution hold no weight. You are free from their grasp, free from the chains they tried to wrap around you. Your focus must remain on what truly matters, love and your connection to the divine. As the old ways collapse around you, as the illusions crumble and the weight of past energies dissolves, you will find yourself aligned with a new spiritual reality. This is where your power lies, in the unwavering connection you have with the higher truth that guides you. Do not let the noise of the past distract you. The chaos of others' guilt, their desperate attempts to fix what they broke, is not your concern. You are on a higher path now, one that leads not to reconciliation with them, but to an even deeper alignment with your own truth. Let the old fall away. Let those who have wronged you deal with their own karmic repercussions. Your path is clear. As you move forward into this new spiritual reality, stay rooted in love and truth. The divine force that flows through you is all you need. And as you continue to rise, share your story with others who are navigating their own revelations. Your voice, your truth, is a beacon for those who are still finding their way through the flood.